It's Monday. It's May 8th. It's 2023. Um, they had on a series of reruns of the Avenger and Marvel movies, and Xmen was on. So I'm on FX. So I tried to watch a few of them and see this last stand with it happened, it came out in 2006 is the date that they give on it. I'm sitting in 2023, so it's the year after Alexander arrived, but now when this movie came out, which I didn't see necessarily, and I'm trying to find it. Now what's interesting is it says the two headmasters are Charles and Eric. I'm like, oh gosh, as a daughter in the area of Erica. Um, I am just watching this, and I surely hope, I mean, again, over here in the Red Cross Church, they speak of Jesus. Jesus is that Savior that resurrects and comes back. Here they have this daughter. They call her Phoenix, but they're saying this daughter has two personalities. Again, I don't want to get into head games of the dysfunctioning machine trying to explain but preserve and tread cautiously. It's very confusing even when I run characteristic like themes and I put like my special system and I try to analyze it. I'm still having some trouble with storylines. Then again, I'm going to go from this one scene that came out in 2006, and then I'm going to go to where my 2023 headlines are in reality, with with a real argument that the local officials are having in the headlines. Um, and so, but I want to start the conversation that then the Channel 7 Eyewitness News is having, but I want to start it at the FX level with Xmen The Last Stand, because then again, there's talks of this blood disorder in here, this disease, this cure, this mutant, and I'm sitting here in, like, I know I'm part of that conversation in, like, I have to keep, I'm keeping a special ear out for it as far as like a blood transfusion goes. Um, there's a special number of people that I can rely on, and it's at the 10% level of population. The other 90% don't qualify. Um, so I'm, of course, from like the pre-med field, I take it with this, or pre-nursing field, I just take it with this real careful analysis. Um, but it's interesting because they call her Jean. Look at that. And then it's very really Eric and Charles. And they're in this house, theoretically. Um, and Jean seems really upset. At one point, they said that they called her Phoenix, like this alternate personality, because she's angry. She's in the house and she's angry. So, again, I wasn't there when they were storyboarding this, but this was 2006. This came out. Um, but this scene is interesting.
I knew you'd come.
Of course. I've come
to bring you home.
I have no home.
Yes, you do. You have a home and a family. You know he thinks your power is too great for you to control. Eric, I don't believe your mind games are going to work anymore, Charles.
So you want to control me?
No, he does. No, I want to help you.
Help me. What's wrong with me?
Absolutely nothing. Eric, stop. No, Charles, not this time. You've always held her back. For your own good, Jean.
Stay out of my head. So stay out of my head is where that scene ends for the moment. But I'm going to go to the headlines real quick to just see what my local officials are up to. I did notice in another part of this movie, they find this child who's playing video games in front of this TV, and the very blue, the character, and I don't know his name, that Kelsey Grammer voices over or performs, who's very blue. As he approaches this child, all of a sudden the blueness just disappears, and his hand is exposed, which seems important. So I'm going to pause this for a second, pick that up, and then go to the headlines of real world, like what's going on for me today as I'm watching the professionals perform and explain to the very concerned public like myself about what's going on with Eric Adams in the administration and all of these asylum seekers coming in over the border. I ask myself, I'm like, at what point do little green men say it's an alien invasion? And at what point, like, they do bring up this word human trafficking, but again, those are the professionals who studied this. I studied something different. And I'm having trouble, not only with my health, which is one area of concern that I'm keeping an eye on and documenting for the greater good. But then there's there's no pay in this, or they're at least not offering me pay to do this. But they're letting all of these strangers in that weren't born here, and they're making room, and they're coming up with money that, they're not reaching into their DSS budget and helping me out. I've applied and they've denied me. But yet they're taking people from southern continent countries, busing them here, and then putting them up in hotels and helping them get work and established in New York. I don't understand their process or their thought pattern. What happened when it was my turn, when I was 18? Where was my hand to hold? Where were my services? They have something in place that they're, and then another part of me says, like, where is President Joe Biden as Thor on the battlefield? A part of me, and I hate to say it, really does appreciate Putin in his veracity to protect the Russian people. Not that what he's doing, again, I'm not getting into the linguistics of it, but with Ukraine, but if there was some form of defense at the border to slow down. They're all trafficking in and saying, like, they're all looking for the American dream. Guess what? I've been here 44 years and my mother's been here 70. We're still looking for the American dream. Didn't happen for us. And now I'm like, my children are here. I didn't find the American dream here, but they're opening up more. It logically, if I use my logical brain and my logical mind, I'm struggling with the logistics. I am. Here's him trying to figure out the power of this new child in front of the television.
How long will you keep the boy here?
Until we can fully map his DNA, we can replicate it, but we can't generate it.
And his power? What is its range?
You'll see. Jimmy, there's someone I would like you to meet.
Hello there, son.
Hi.
My name is Hank McCoy.
What color is that hand? It does not look like a black hand, but yet it's blue with one hand exposed.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. You have an amazing gift. Thank you, Jimmy.
Extraordinary, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Now I'm going to flash forward to my real headline that they put, which I already watched, but it was at noon. They said one thing, continuation at 4, continuation at 5. And then by 6:37, they went to World News Tonight, and then it actually went down to the border, and you can see all of the migrants or immigrants trying to line up. So I'm going to pause this for a second.
Now, look how we begin this half hour with the possible solutions under consideration in New York City to try to handle the thousands of additional migrants expected after Title 42 expires this week.
The COVID-era restrictions were put into place in 2020 to limit the threat of a public health crisis. But now the pandemic is over, and on Thursday, the immigration laws returned to before COVID-19 put us...
See, is it really over? Because it's not over for me. I mean, I posted my New York City Roadrunner results. I am not up to par with the herd. I'm actively trying to work in the field but my legs are just not returning to their whatever. I'm watching relative to specific gravity on a UA. How it's there's some kind, the UA is very condensed. It's not diffusing in the water. It sinks. And so there is a gravity issue. There is some kind, I just don't know what substance it is. I've shown a view of like the cerebral area or the cephalic area where the sweat has actually like come through my other hat and stained the sides of it. But it's everywhere and it's got this large particle to it. I'm not the only one with the fogginess and some of the loss of motor function in the house. It's not just me. And then this lower extremity pooling almost. So it's almost like on a molecular cellular level that I'm having these circulation issues. Like in order to get from circulation to excretion, it's not going through like lymphatics. It's affecting, and I'm not getting in the area like the medical doctor field or the medical arts field. When I go to actively seek them out, I'm not getting answers or counterbalance directives. I'm unable to, so I'm trying to do the best that I can in order to rectify it. until something arrives that has better medical advice than what I currently have access to.
It's at risk.
After that ends, the Department of Homeland Security predicts there could be as much as 11,000 to 13,000 migrants crossing the southern border each day. As Eyewitness News reporter Anthony Carlo explains, that crisis at the border means a continued crisis in our area as well.
Yes, well, several busloads of asylum seekers just got here a couple of days ago, and they're staying at the old police academy. But when Title 42 expires Thursday, the city is bracing for 800 migrants a day. The American dream has become more of a New York City nightmare, logistically speaking, as the buses of asylum seekers roll on in.
New York has received the brunt of close to 60,000 of those who are coming to the city to participate.
Why? Why are we receiving any new permanent residents? I mean, I have not gotten a phone call. Not from Kathy Hochul, not from Mayor Adams. My parents own a home. My grandfather owned the house before my parents, and they pay taxes. They have, I mean, like, there's no communication set up. Why is our state and why is our city receiving this many newcomers, and who's responsible? Like, who's going to be sending money along with them to fund them for, like, long maintenance plan if they're sending them in? I mean, like, who answers those questions?
The American dream, and we're not giving them the resources.
Mattresses were unloaded Friday at Armani Inn up in Rockland County, one of two hotels New York City Mayor Eric Adams.
They also just changed the laws. They went with a more marijuana-friendly city, where now they have marijuana shops. I don't know if that upset the beast between the elephant and the donkey. I'm sure at conservatives it must have. But I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's progressiveness. I don't know if it's anticipation of something else. But it is, I mean, it's a lot. And now people are, it's one thing if they're hiding in their house and doing whatever it is that they do, but now it's out on the streets, it's out in the parks, it's amongst people who are not smoking. And then now we're just getting more people in. I mean, where is this? Where is government actually working and actually participating with the generation that's here and is very concerned about the future, is concerned about some of the stuff in the past, but does not know who is making these decisions? I mean, I couldn't, I have one name. Downstate, it's Mayor Adams, and upstate, it's Kathy Hochul. Those are the two celebrity names that they give. But who are these actual decision makers that are pushing this stuff and making it happen? I would have no idea.
To move migrants to outside of the city as he scrambles to make room. But County Executive Ed Day says, not in my backyard.
The mayor's plan is the same as tossing people out into the middle of the ocean who can't swim and saying, go to shore. It can't work.
Day, who blasted the mayor Monday morning, declared a state of emergency in response to Adams' plan. Rockland County prepared to issue violations to any participating hotel. Meanwhile, the city is looking at a number of possible temporary housing solutions. This includes local college gyms and public schools, and potentially putting tents at Central Park, Orchard Beach, and in City Fields parking lots, all to deal with the buses of asylum seekers coming from Texas.
President Biden's open border policies is going to cause a catastrophic disaster in the United States.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott today announcing he's deploying thousands of specially trained National Guard members at the border. arguing that the president is sending troops to do paperwork.
The deployment of active duty troops is not to do enforcement work, not to interact with the migrants, but to provide other support.
Now, the mayor says without the federal help he's been requesting since last year, his hands are tied. The city says it's getting only $30 million of FEMA funds out of the $350 million in total funds it applied for. In Gramercy, Anthony Carlo, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
New information, 8 counts.
And here's the 4 o'clock news.
Adams says that New York simply doesn't have enough space to house them, and this is really just the beginning of an expected influx.
City officials anticipate 800 asylum seekers will arrive here daily after Title 42 ends on Thursday. They are now left looking for solutions, possibly housing migrants in college gyms, public schools, and tents in public parks, or even in the parking lot of Citi Field.
Eyewitness News reporter Joe Torres is live in Orangeburg, Rockland County, with more. Joe.
Lawrence, Andrew, here are the numbers. The mayor, Eric Adams, wants to send 340 single migrant men from the city to this hotel here in Orangeburg, where it will serve as a New York City-run, New York City-funded shelter for the next 4 months or so, perhaps longer. But officials here in Rockland County say the mayor never asked to make such a move. He more or less ordered it. And the county executive here in Rockland County, in no uncertain terms, said, "Not on my watch."
The city declared itself a sanctuary city in December of 2016. Rockland County did not. It's as simple as that.
And that served as one of the many reasons why federal, state, and local...
Why? Why did he change it over to a sanctuary? What does that even mean? Like, where's the definition for it? How do you follow along? Who's making these decisions?
Leaders in Rockland County vehemently oppose Mayor Eric Adams' plan to ship 340 single migrant men from New York City to this hotel in Orangeburg, located less than a mile from one high school and 3 colleges.
The fact that it's 340 single adult males in a community that has, schools, churches, playgrounds, college campuses, all right there, and these are people who, by their own admission, are not able to come into this community and work and contribute right now. What are we doing all day long?
The Orangetown supervisor learned of the mayor's plan on Friday morning when he called her. She told reporters he offered few details and made it clear this was not a request.
You're not asking me. This is a courtesy call, at which point he acknowledged that was the case, leaving us with very short time to do our own investigation into what our legal rights are as a town.
The county executive said the state of emergency he issued this weekend stops the city from shipping the migrants to Rockland. Furthermore, the Orangetown supervisor said a New York City-run shelter violates the hotel's certificate of occupancy. Housing the migrants would lead to substantial fines and penalties. The mayor's claim that New York City notified suburban leaders of the relocation plan generated this reaction.
That is an utter, absolute lie. And if the mayor wants to challenge me on it, he can.
This is the beginning of their plan. This is a quote-unquote pilot program. It's a total joke.
Well, the verbal back and forth stepped up a notch this afternoon when the mayor's press secretary put out a statement reacting to the stance taken by the county executive here. The statement in part says, "We've been met with racist rhetoric and reprehensible threats from the head of a county that will be tasked with caring for less than 0.25% of the asylum seekers who have come to New York City." Try and imagine the reaction that sort of incendiary language generated from the county executive. Well, you won't have to imagine it. We'll show it to you in our next live report coming up at 5 o'clock. For now, we're live in Orangeburg. I'm Joe Torres, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Joe, thank you.
Here's the news at 5.
Of Orangeburg, there's a long list of reasons and no shortage of people here who think that is a bad idea.
I was shocked.
Why so?
Well, I think the community, Orangeburg, is not prepared for it.
We don't have a spot for them. We don't have services.
This weekend, the county executive issued a state of emergency designed to stop Mayor Eric Adams' plan in its tracks. Ed Day called the mayor a hypocrite for criticizing Governor Greg Abbott for shipping migrants from Texas to New York and then ordering migrants shipped from New York to Rockland County.
What the city of New York is doing is more akin to human trafficking than providing services. The best way I can describe it.
The verbal sparring hit a new high today when the mayor's press secretary issued a statement that read, in part, "We've been met with racist rhetoric and reprehensible threats from the head of a county that will be tasked with caring for less than 1/4% of the asylum seekers who've come to New York City. And once again, New York would be paying for shelter, food, and services."
And the mayor says it's racist? He called it morally bankrupt. The only one who is morally bankrupt here is Mayor Adams. He's a hypocrite.
Further aggravating the elected officials here in Rockland County was the surprise nature of the mayor's move. The Orangetown supervisor learned of the plan on Friday morning when he called her. She told reporters he offered few details and made it clear this was not a request.
It looks like some kind of civil invasion. It just does. I mean, they're not here with tanks and drones and bombs, but they're coming on some kind of musical tour bus funded by I don't know whom, and they're not mentioning any of it. Where's the maintenance money for these people coming from? Who's funding that maintenance? What's that tied to? What is that going to cost us in the long run? How is that going to affect my son's life over the next 30, 40, 70, 80 years?
You're not asking me. This is a courtesy call, at which point he acknowledged that was the case, leaving us with very short time to do our own investigation into what our legal rights are as a town.
Now, this isn't just Rockland County. The mayor's plan also calls for sending 60 single migrant men to a hotel in the town of Newburgh in Orange County. And the county executive and local leaders there have the same concerns as local leaders in the county executive here. In fact, they asked the mayor to hold off on his relocation plans, and they say the mayor agreed, but he offered no timetable. Live in Orangeburg, I'm Joe Torres, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
So many layers to this issue, Joe. Thank you so much.
My mom's concerned as well. And I mean, she's not on camera on Channel 7 Eyewitness News, but she's also concerned. But again, where is this process? Like, where do you get your voice heard? How do you even participate in a lawful, like, civil way without reprisal or repercussions or having people come to your... I mean, I've already had people come to my house, handcuff me, put me in an ambulance, and send me to the hospital, and then knock me out. I mean, it's ridiculous what's going on in the city right now. And it's like all of my rights have been taken away. I don't even get a voice. Talk about really feeling like a mutant. I mean, it feels like Mutiny on the Bounty is going on, and I've been muted or silenced by some other process that moved in or took hold or is working somehow in the minutia. Like, again, I'm not really sure, but this is from a seat in my mother's whatever, looking through the portal to what went on in the day, that I'm not even being asked, not in planning way ahead of time. They don't ask for my opinion. They're not even making me part of the process. They haven't even constructed how the process works for me. And I went to school here from like the beginning of when you enter school until you graduate. And then years in between. And there's been no offer of employment or even offer of a voice to be heard, to be part of the process. So that's a problem. And they never built or constructed a reality of how they're getting away with making all of these decisions without even consulting the indigenous population before these things go into effect. So it's star 1978, star 8378. It's like I don't mean to be an alarmist. But I am concerned. I'm really sincerely concerned. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza, it's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.